The gas boom in the late 1800s has a lot to do with both the glass that you see behind me and that we display in our museum, but it also has a lot to do with the town of Albany.
The gas boom first hit, we know, I think people that live in this area know, around Eaton, but it was wide in this whole part of the state. So we know towns like Gaston and Gas City are all named because of the gas boom.
It was the Trenton Gas Field is what it's called, and it stretches from central Indiana all the way over to Ohio. And it was the largest discovery of natural gas at the time. And there's also oil reserves and everything as well.
Now, Albany was a prosperous little community at the time, and that led to, and when I say boom, I mean boom, the economy just went crazy.
Very little was known at the time, too, about how to harness all of that natural gas. So a lot of it was wasted. So the natural gas boom was very brief. Where it really affected Albany was we discovered natural gas here locally and were able to tap into it, and we used it as a way to attract manufacturing. That was kind of our pitch, was move your manufacturing to Albany and we'll give you all the free gas that you want.
The gas boom not only brought in the glass factories that we're so well aware of, like we see in this room, but also factories that did window pane glass, the Hoosier cabinet factory, tile works. At one time they had a factory that made metal bicycle tubing.
At one time during the gas boom era, there were over 100 glass factories just in Indiana.
Albany at the time, pre-Civil War, is a community of maybe 300 or 400 people. By the gas boom era, 1880 to turn of the century, there's as many as 3,000 people living here. There's records that there were 100 homes being built at the exact same time. So today we're a community of about 1,000 homes. To think that back then, what we know today as East Albany, or the Man Addition, or everything east of Halfway Creek, that whole housing addition kind of sprung up overnight. So you have all those homes in East Albany. Every street today, whether it's Foster, Parker, Dalton, Manor Avenue, they all dead end at the railroad. And at the gas boom time, every one of those streets had a factory at the end of it.
Albany is not a large town.
According to the 1890 census, Albany had about 500 people in it. So in 1900, the census, the population was over 2,000 people. And today, I believe it sits right around 2,000 people as well. If we hadn't discovered natural gas, would Albany have seen that balloon in population? Would we be a town of 2,000 today? You know, it's hard to say, but it helped Albany become what it is today, for sure.
Albany went from a community of 300 or 400 people to 3,000 overnight. And when that was over, a lot of communities just went back to a small crossroads, just a small community with a gas station and a grocery store. Albany was very fortunate that the McCormick brothers, who were running a hardware business at the time, they expanded and took over the bank and the Albany Flats building and turned that into the McCormick's factory building that operated until the late 60s. And the Grand Hotel was taken over by J.L. Tully, who we know is our famous local inventor of the Albany Runabout, the automobile that he manufactured right here in town. In fact, he was the town water superintendent, if I'm correct, and built the first car like in his residence, and then had to take it apart and reassemble it again outside. But he took over the vacant Grand Hotel building and turned that into the Albany Automobile Factory. And that operated for a couple years. He had about 40, 45 employees, and they turned out about 1,800 automobiles right here in Albany. When the gas boom was ending, that's also when the Albany traction line came into existence. The railroad came through in the 1870s, and Albany was able to recover. But at their peak, East Albany was bigger and more prosperous than the Albany we know today, than downtown Albany. So much so that they took the train depot away from where we know it's set there at Depot Park, and with a team of mules, they drug it to East Albany and relocated the depot. 20 years later, when the gas boom was gone and the factories all shut down, they hooked up the mules and they drug the depot back to its original place. So the gas boom did amazing things, but it was pretty short-lived.